You tell me, who is a better scholar in this time, a better than Sayyidina Imam Shafi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu? Do you claim to be higher than Imam Shafi in knowledge? Do you have a better and deeper understanding of the concept of bid'ah than Imam Shafi did? Hafiz Ibn Asqalani quotes, and then we will come to the references afterwards too. Volume 13, same book, Fathul Bari. He says that Imam Shafi'i gave the definition of bid'ah. Imam Shafi'i. Qala Shafi'i radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And let me tell that this definition of bid'ah given by Imam Shafi'i radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is reported by two means. One reference has been given by Imam Bayhaqi. He quotes in his book Manaqib al-Shafi'i with his sanad that Imam Shafi'i gave this definition of bid'ah. And second, Imam Abu Nu'aym quotes. And of course, every Imam, including Imam Nawawi, Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, Imam Shatibi, Imam Asqalani, every single Imam has quoted Imam Shafi'i. So Imam Shafi'i seems to be the first person in the Ummah of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the first Imam who has given the proper technical definition of the word, Shari definition of the word bid'ah. So Hafiz Ibn Asqalani quotes, Qala Shafi'i radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He quotes under the word kullu bid'atin dalala, that every bid'ah is dalala. Keep these words in your mind. And wrong interpretations given by some people. And now, please pay your attention towards the definition and classification given by Imam Shafi'i. He says, Imam Shafi'i, Qala Shafi'i, al-bid'atu bid'atan. Bid'at is classified into two kinds. This is Imam Shafi'i's sayings. Mahmudatun wa mazmumatun. Recommended bid'ah, commendable, and condemned or disapproved. Imam Shafi'i says, one is good bid'ah, which is to be appreciated, which is to be commended, which is taken as approved. Other one is disapproved or condemned. And the meanings are, he says, فَمَا وَافَقَ السُّنَّةِ فَهُوَ مَحْمُودٌ. Any bid'ah which has relationship with the Sharia, which can be substantiated by Sharia, which has any root or any reference or any substantiation of any dalil from Sharia, and which is not contradicted by Sharia. Any bid'ah which is not contradicted to Sharia, which does not contradict any specific hukm of Sharia, that is Mahmud. Which has muwafaqah with Sharia, it is Mahmuda. وَمَا خَالَفَهَا فَهُوَ مَذْمُومٌ. And which is against the hukm of Sharia, then it is known as mazmum, condemned. Imam Abu Nu'aym reported this on Tariq Ibrahim bin al-Junayd an al-Shafi'i. And Imam Bayhaqi said, al-muhdathani darban ma uhdisa yukhalifu kitaban or sunnatan or asaran or ijma'an fahazihi bid'atud dalal. Imam Shafi'i said, any new act which is against either any verse of commandment of Holy Quran or any new act which is against any specific hadith of Holy Prophet, or which is specifically against the ijma of companions and ijma of ummah, he said, that is bid'atud dalal, that is condemned bid'ah, disapproved bid'ah. وَمَا أُحْدِثَ مِنَ الْخَيْرِ لَا يُخَالِفُ شَيْئًا مِنْ ذَلِكَ فَهَذِهِ مُحْدَثَةٌ غَيْرُ مَذْمُومَةٌ. These are the words of Imam Shafi'i defining the word bid'ah. He said, any bid'ah or new thing which does not contradict to any specific verse or commandment of Holy Quran, which does not contradict any specific hadith and commandment of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which does not contradict to any specific commandment or saying of the companions or ijma of the Sahaba. So it would be known that it is not mukhalifu sharia. So it is not condemned. It would not condemn. And if it contradicts with Quran, Sunnah of Sahaba, then it is known as condemned and mazmoom. So Imam Shafi says, in order to define the bid'ah and muhdasa, this is a necessary condition that any new act, any celebration, any practice, any act of faith or any act of practice which you claim to be bid'ah or dalala, it has to be put in front of the test of Quran, Sunnah and Ijma of Sahaba. You don't need any dalil to find from there. Imam Shafi says, if it is contradictory to any verse of Holy Quran, if it is contradictory to any hadith of Holy Prophet, or contradictory to ijma of the companions, only then this is bid'atul dalala. And if there is no contradiction between that new bid'ah and any Quranic verse, no contradiction to the new bid'ah and any hadith of Holy Prophet, and no contradiction between bid'ah and ijma of the Sahaba, then it will not be known as bid'atul dalala. So the definition given by Imam Shafi'i and given by all other A'immah, concluding within 1-2 minutes, is that in order to define the bid'ah, whether it is dalala or not, this is the basic criterion, that if some act is committed, even act of maulid, act of urs, act of kissing the hands, act of congregations, other celebrations, any act. So we have to find, does this particular act contradict any particular verse of Holy Quran? Is there any particular verse where Almighty Allah has said that you cannot celebrate birthdays? If this was prohibited, then it will become bid'atul dalala. If there is any specific hadith which prohibits you to perform that particular act, and still you innovate it, it would become bid'atul dalala. If there is consensus of companions and they say don't do this act, and still you do as a new act, then it is bid'atul dalala. And if there is no contradiction with the consensus of companions, this is a different matter whether they did it or not. Then it is not bid'atul dalala. Whether they performed it or not, because it has been established by the dalil of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Zayd bin Thabit of Sahih Bukhari. Whether Holy Prophet did it or not, whether companions performed it or not, this is not the dalil. Dalil is there any prohibition to perform any particular act? Is there any contradiction, specific contradiction between this new act and any specific commandment of Quran or Sunnah? If there is a contradiction, then it would be known as bid'ah according to Sharia. It would be dalala and lead to hellfire. And if there is no specific commandment found on that particular point, where you say that this act is contradicting it, this act is nullifying that commandment of Quran or Sunnah, this act is negating that particular act of commandment of Quran and Sunnah, if there is no conflict and contradiction, then any new act cannot be known as bid'ah in Sharia, and it is not bid'atul dalala. So today I finish my talk on these three definitions. Definition given by Imam Shafi'i, definition given by Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, and definition given by Imam Ibn Hajar Asqalani. And he has repeated the same words which I have quoted. And Imam Shafi'i says, Sawa'an kana mahmudan aw mazmuma. Then a bid'ah, a new act, can be mahmud, it can be mazmum. It can be good, it can be bad. And criterion to deciding whether it is good or bad is only the contradiction. Does any contradiction with specific Quranic verse or hadith? Does any contradiction or conflict exist or not? If there is no conflict, then it is mahmud. If based upon good intention for good maslahah And if there is contradiction, any Quranic verse is being contradicted or negated or rejected, or any hadith of Holy Prophet is being rejected or contradicted or negated, only then the new act will become Bidah Dalala.